Hey everybody, so do you have a child that is anxious or nervous all the time? Well, there could be many reasons for this, but there is one underlying and often overlooked reason for this happening, and that is called the Moro Reflex. So the Moro Reflex is a reflex that we are all born with. It's part of one of the primitive reflexes that we have, and the purpose of the Moro Reflex is to help protect infants from potential danger. So what triggers the Moro Reflex? Well, the Moro Reflex is triggered when there is a sudden change in movement, a sudden change in positioning, or even a loud noise. If you want to observe the Moro Reflex in action, you can basically hold the baby out in front of you and kind of slightly pretend to drop them or lower them very quickly, or even blow in their face like and you should start to see them flail their arms and legs and become like very startled when this happens. This reflex is typically present prenatally up until the child reaches between 3 to 6 months of age. Once the child surpasses that 6-month age range, you should no longer see the arms and legs spreading or them startling or flailing once you do things such as pretend to drop them or if you blow in their face. That is because once the child reaches past that 6-month mark, that means that the Moro Reflex is fully integrated into their bodies. This also means that their nervous system has matured and that they have better control over the movements in their bodies. On some occasions, children will still have the Moro Reflex present even after they have reached that 6-month age mark, and it's even present sometimes in adults as well. This just means that the Moro Reflex has not fully integrated and that the child or the adult is still retaining that primitive reflex. So what happens if the Moro Reflex is retained and it's not fully integrated? Well, this can actually have an impact on your child's development. So besides the anxiousness and the nervousness that will persist in a child or as an adult if they still are not fully integrated with this reflex, there are going to be a host of other symptoms. Some of these symptoms can include shyness, separation anxiety, motion sickness, difficulty with eye contact, poor balance and coordination, sensitivity to lights and sound, poor stamina, and even poor mood swings. So how do you go about checking to see if this Moro Reflex is even still present? So if you're going to be testing out another child or another individual, there are a few different ways that you can do it. One way is to have the child lay back flat on their back on the floor or a soft surface and put pillows underneath their shoulders. What you're gonna do is cup their head in your hands, and what you're gonna do is kind of just quickly kind of drop their head, and what you're gonna do is take notice and observe how their head and neck control is. If they are an individual or a child that kind of lets their neck drop back easily without resistance, or they're not really stiff in the neck or startled, or if they don't take a deep inhalation like when you do it, then you'll know that their Moro Reflex is fully integrated. But if you notice any of those other signs that I just mentioned, such as a sharp inhalation or their neck being very stiff or them kind of startling when you do it, then you'll know that that Moro Reflex is still there. Also, you can try it by having the child or individual lay on like an exercise ball, and you want to have them kind of lay backwards on it so that their head is tilted upside down on the ball. You will notice that their Moro Reflex is fully integrated if they can lay their head backwards without being startled or without being stiff. They'll kind of just easily glide back and have easy neck control as they're gliding back. But if you notice that the child or individual is struggling to lay back, or they're startled when they do it, or they're very stiff, that's how you know that that Moro Reflex is actually retained. It has not been fully integrated. So what can you do about this? Is it a lost cause if you have a child that's older than 6 months of age and they still have this Moro Reflex, or even if you're an adult and you still have this Moro Reflex? No, it is not a lost cause, because there are actually some primitive reflex exercises that can be done to help integrate this reflex. In fact, I'm going to be sharing a link with you all in the description below of another video that you guys can watch much in order to learn how to do a certain exercise to help integrate the Moro Reflex. This exercise is called starfish. And so, like I said, I'll be linking that in the description below if you're interested in learning more about how to execute that exercise. If you are an adult, you may need to help and assist a child who's much younger to integrate this particular exercise by doing like some physical assistance with them. So if you made it this far in the video and you want to learn more about how other reflexes may be impacting your child's development, type the phrase "learn more" in the comment section below, and I will consider making some more videos about different types of other reflexes that could actually be impacting your child. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and until the next one,